Warning, this video contains opinions. Here's the short version. Alright, now here's the long version. I don't normally do scripted content, so sorry if my delivery is stilted or whatever, but I wanted to follow a script so I could cover everything I wanted to without wandering off topic. This is probably the last video I'll make about the Cougar unless they change something else. For the sake of anybody watching this in the future when the Cougar drama has long been forgotten, here's a quick recap. In December of 2022, Hinterland announced they'd be releasing a multi-part DLC, which at some point would include a Cougar being added to the game. The roadmap described it as your greatest foe yet. People were understandably hyped about it and started speculating on how it might act in-game. The biggest consensus was that the fans wanted the Cougar to be stealthy and deadly, just like real-life Cougars. On June 24th, 2024, Part 5 of the DLC released, which finally included the Cougar. It was completely unique to any of the wildlife added before. The way to find a Cougar was to stay in one region for a certain amount of days, depending on the difficulty, after which it would take interest in you and start to encroach on your territory. 5 days before the Cougar arrives in your region, you'd get a notification, then a countdown, and you'd start hearing Cougar noises every so often. Once it entered the region, you'd get another notification and start hearing horrifying cat noises. The music changes, your character says things about the noises, and all the other wildlife clears out of the region. There's no rabbits. The rabbits are gone. Then, at some point when you're outside, you don't know when, the Cougar will attack you. Just like in real life, you never see it coming. It starts the struggle animation, then you get one chance to shoot at it from the ground as it's retreating. If you hit it, it's an instant kill, and you get the best headgear and knife in the game, and you're free from the Cougar threat for a long time. I don't actually know how long though, I didn't look it up. And the best part was, the Cougar was optional. If you don't want it in your game, just toggle it off. Everyone wins, right? This Cougar design was met by what can only be described as feral hate. So-called fans harassed the devs on Twitter to the point where Hinterland had to comment about it. As a result of this loud abuse, they released a patch removing the Cougar 3 days later. If you didn't play the game and grind out a Cougar encounter in those 3 days, too bad, so sad. And no badge either, Hinterland, come on! The worst part is that most of the people who were feral with rage about Cougar 1.0 never actually saw the damn thing in the game. Almost all of the hate was based off the update video. This is where my opinion enters the fray. You've been warned. When I saw the update video for the new Cougar, I thought it looked creative, unique, and just plain cool. I loved how accurate it was to real life and how different it was from any of the other predators in the game. I was really proud of Hinterland for not just making it a fast, tanky wolf, and for instead doing something new and original. Now, as a disclaimer, I would say I'm an expert player. I've put like 1,000 hours into the game, I know most of the maps like the back of my hand, and I mostly play Interloper. It has been a long time since The Long Dark has made me feel fear. Now, don't get me wrong, when I first started playing, I was too scared to go out at night. Every little noise made me jump, and every wolf bark threatened to stop my heart. Then I got better at the game and more confident. Bears? Easy to deal with. Moose? Piece of cake. Wolves? Not even worth the arrow I used to kill them. Once I got my hands on a bow, I became the apex predator. Sure, sometimes I'd whiff a shot or get surprised by a bear, but for the most part, there wasn't anything that could touch me. And then the Cougar came out, and I was thrilled. Here is something that can make the game scary again. Here's something that would absolutely kick my ass and knock me down a peg on the food chain. Here was something that would remind me that TLD can be scary. I loved that you had to use your ass as bait, and that you had to what you say it as it ran off. I liked how dangerous and deadly it was. I also liked how it was kind of a hidden in-game boss. I mean, think about it. For most of the early and middle game, you're moving from region to region, gathering resources, crafting, setting up bases, doing quests, yada yada yada. Then you make it to the end game, which is usually where most folks stop playing on that file and start a new one, myself included. You've done everything, right? You settle down in your favorite region, start wrapping up any loose ends. And then the Cougar takes interest. Suddenly, any staleness you were feeling from a long playthrough is gone, and you're back at square one again, just a scared little survivor. Or what about this? In Interloper, intestinal parasites take 20 days to cure. It also takes 20 days for a Cougar to start stalking you. The way the timing lines up, it makes you have to choose between traveling when you're weakened by worms or risk facing a mad cat as soon as you're cured. It adds that extra layer of difficulty in decision making that I desperately craved. So these are the main reasons I love the design of Cougar 1.0. It honestly felt like it was made just for me. Now, unlike most of the player base, I actually got a chance to play with Cougar 1.0. The day the patch removing the Cougar came out, I was literally moving to a new state, and my PC was in the trunk of my car. So when I got it set up at my new place, I switched Steam to offline mode, and I avoided the patch that stole the cat away. I could have also used a time capsule, but I'm not great with computers, and I was worried about messing something up, so yeah. Anyways, I wanted to experience the Cougar for the first time on Stalker before I messed with it in Interloper. I'd seen the videos everyone made, so I knew what to expect. But let me tell you, there's a major difference between watching someone encounter a cougar versus playing with it yourself. I'll just let this clip speak for itself. Badge that makes you immune to cabin fever. That scared the shit out of me. Oh my god. Frightful weeping. Oh yeah. Instantly, I was right back to the first time I heard Fluffy howling in the dam. Again, I knew what was coming, but the uncertainty about whether or not I would make that critical shot was so prevalent, I literally had a dream about it the night before this stream. When was the last time you were so excited and scared for something in a video game that you had a dream about it? So when the Cougar finally entered the region and started stalking me, the sound design instantly triggered my fight or flight response. In a good way. Oh god, I heard it scurrying through the bushes. I hate it! I hate it! Oh my god! Oh god! This is like primal caveman fear of like, oh, scary cat. Oh my god. Oh my god. This is like my caveman brain is like, get back in the cave. Get back in the cave. I hate it. 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 Why did it have to wait until nightfall? You can watch the videos I made of the encounter. You can see it in my mouse movements and hear it in my voice. I was terrified, and it was awesome. TLD finally managed to scare me again. The best analogy to the fear I felt that I can offer is like when you're walking your dog at night and lightning suddenly flashes overhead and you're nowhere near home. It's something that triggers your basic survival instinct. That's what the Cougar felt like. Hearing something rustling in the bushes behind you is absolutely terrifying, no matter if it's in a game or in real life. Again, major kudos to the sound designers, y'all crushed it. Anyways, when the Cougar attacked me, here's how it went. 4 hours, let's go. Okay. Where is it? There it goes. Oh my god. Come on. Did I get it? Oh! I got it! I got it! Oh! 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 My arms are in the air right now. Oh, baby! I was thrilled. All my preparation and skill paid off. Making the shot from the ground made me feel like an action hero. I felt so proud of that Cougar kill that even 6 months later I'm still giddy thinking about it. So that was my experience with Cougar 1.0. I did have an issue where it wouldn't attack me if I stood on the ice of Mystery Lake, but I still don't know if that was a bug or if it was intended. It makes sense if it's intended. There was nowhere for the Cougar to sneak up on me from if I was in the middle of the lake. Unfortunately, I'll never know if it was a bug or a feature. After this, I went ahead and updated the game, saying goodbye to Cougar 1.0. So now that I've shown off the positives, let's discuss the criticism. A lot of people didn't like that you couldn't attack the Cougar first. I get where they're coming from, especially the Nagoa or Misery players. Without health regeneration, a mandatory health loss is devastating. While most people don't play Nagoa or Misery, a lot of players are very precious about their health. I was like that too when I first started playing. I needed all my stats to be as full as possible, or my poor Astrid was gonna drop dead the instant she got cold or hungry. As I became more experienced, however, I started using my health bar as a resource. I didn't mind taking a huge hit to my health because I'd stocked up on a dozen birch bark teas beforehand. But still, I understand where that criticism comes from. And the fact that the Cougar attacks without warning or a chance to fight back is how it is in real life, but there is such a thing as too much realism. And look, we all know TLD isn't trying to be some hyper-realistic survival game. Moose walk on thin ice where a human would fall through. You can walk off a bear attack, and you can break 100 ribs with minimal consequence. But in terms of making the Cougar feel pretty close to real life, they kinda nailed it with 1.0. It felt like a good mix of realism with that TLD suspension of disbelief. The unrealistic part is that you actually survive the attack. But I'm getting off topic. Back to the criticism. If it were up to me, I would have had it so the Cougar spawns in behind you with a special sound cue, like running footsteps, and then does a leaping animation, and you've got that 1 second to whip around and fire at it once before it's on you. If you're quick and lucky, you'll make the shot and it will die instantly. If not, you'd still have the chance to shoot it from the ground as it retreats. It's a win-win, it emphasizes the sound cues even more, and it makes the damn thing even scarier. Like, imagine having to actually look over your shoulder. I think adding that would have perfectly handled the criticism. They also could have made the Auroras mess with the Cougar's head to the point where it can't be stealthy, so the only time you could find it out in the world would be during an Aurora. Then you would have the chance to be the stealth predator. But if you missed your sneak attack on it, it would savage you with extra damage. So, major risk, major reward, and optional. Some people didn't like how long it took to see a cougar. That's also valid, but someone in my YouTube comments suggested an alternative. They suggested that each region has a different timer for the cougar, with it being much shorter in mountainous regions, aka the cougar's natural habitat. I love that. I wish it was in the game. Thank you so much for commenting that. That was wonderful. Another criticism I saw was that the HUD notifications were immersion breaking. Again, I see where people are coming from, but I don't really see how that's a big issue. Is your health bar immersion breaking? I don't know how much health I have in real life. It's important to remember that at the end of the day, TLD is a video game, and the purpose of the HUD notifications are to provide information to players old and new. Like, imagine the notifications weren't a thing for Cougar 1.0. Plenty of new players are going to pick this game up in the future without knowing there's a murder cat in it. If I were a new player and suddenly started hearing cat noises with no other info, I'd look it up on the wiki to see what it was. So isn't that more immersion breaking? When I saw the notification for the first time, I didn't scoff and roll my eyes about my precious immersion being broken. I gasped and started getting tense, the same way you do when a tornado warning pops up on your phone. Your mindset and imagination play a much bigger role in your immersion in video games than anything else. If getting a countdown to cat o'clock ruins your experience, I think that's just a you problem. The easiest fix for this would be to make the Cougar HUD info a toggle, just like the option to hide the Timberwolf morale bar. Boom, easy solution. What's next? Some people were saying that the Cougar is basically a glorified cutscene. Those people clearly did not actually play with Cougar 1.0 and instead just watched videos of it. Even though the murder kitty wasn't physically in the world while stalking me, the sound design and sense of impending danger did not make it feel that way. I felt that thing's presence with every single noise. I could almost feel it breathing down my neck sometimes. Some folks also said the Cougar was like Cabin Fever 2.0, which is a stretch. Cabin Fever is a mild annoyance that interrupts your bear coat crafting. The Cougar encroaching feels like an unstoppable force has taken notice of you and is going to murder you if you don't act appropriately. I feel like 1 or 2 people made that comparison in the comments of the update video, and now people just repeat it without actually thinking about it. Another complaint was that people wanted it to stalk you around the map, and for you to be able to see it run up a tree or see a tail flick around the corner. Yeah, that would have been cool. But let's be real, the animal AI in this game is sketchy at best. Do you really think the developers who made this?
Oh, don't you give me that. Don't you give me that. You're not even supposed to be here. No, this is my spot. I'm supposed to get the tactical vest and you're not supposed to be here. But watch, once I get the tactical vest, you're probably, what, you stuck? You sure seem like you're stuck there, aren't you? Yeah.
Or this? But there's also a bunch of free stuff that they added. Oop. He's ascending. could make an animal AI that's on par with the alien from Alien Isolation? It sure would have been cool, but let's be realistic here. The Cougar was only one part of a massive DLC. They can't dump the entire budget into something that you realistically only need to fight once per save. Because when you think about it, there is no real reason to fight Cougar 1.0 more than once unless you want the badge. More on that later. After that first kill, whenever the Cougar takes interest, just move to another region for a bit. It's a great excuse to travel and break up that late game monotony. So to recap, there was a lot of criticism, some of it valid, some of it not. But instead of making small changes that address those problems or fixing whatever bugs needed patching, they just took it away. I think that was the biggest mistake Henchelen could have made. They knew most people hadn't played with the Cougar yet, but they still decided to pull the plug on it. If they had stuck to their guns and left it in, would people have mellowed out about it? Would people have grown to love it like I did? We'll never know. Like, this can't be the first time they got backlash for adding new wildlife, right? I wasn't around when they added Timberwolves, so I can't say firsthand, but I imagine they got a lot of complaints then. Maybe it's because I had no expectations for what the Cougar would be other than stealthy and dangerous. Maybe it's because others hyped themselves up with what the Cougar might be like, only to be disappointed when it fell short of their personal expectations. But I just never understood the overreaction to it. I still don't get it. Just as a side note though, it's perfectly fine to be unhappy with a Cougar if it didn't meet your exact expectations, and your personal opinions are all valid. I'm not trying to say my opinion is right, I'm just explaining my thoughts in the most comprehensive way I can. Cool? Cool. So Henchelen removed Cougar 1.0, promising to rework it based on the requests of people who didn't play with 1.0 in the first place. What could possibly go wrong? If I can kill a moose from halfway across Desolation Point, maybe I can hit him. Ah, my aim. Wow. Oh, I hit him. Nice. Hit him again. Is that it? Remember how I said earlier that I was proud of Henchelen for not making the Cougar just a fast, dumb, tanky wolf that ran straight at you from across the map? Yeah. I thought the glancing blow mechanic was neat. What else? If you use a bow, it's a bit more exciting. But also, what am I gonna do with all these Cougar hides? I only need one Cougar knife, unless there's a Cougar claw necklace crafting recipe that I didn't know about. And apparently more Cougars spawning after you kill one is intended? And they quickly become almost as common as wolves? And you can't even get the stupid badge anymore? Hello? Raph, explain! Is this truly what people wanted? An easy kill? An apex predator that's made trivial by any weapon found below Interloper? Or even torches? I've never seen a creature succumb to sequelitis so quickly. Sorry to make another Alien comparison, but Cougar 1.0 is like the xenomorph from the original Alien movie. There's only one, it's terrifying and mysterious, and you can barely fight against it, and usually the only hope you have is to avoid it. Cougar 2.0 is basically the cannon fodder xenomorphs from Aliens that die to space marines by the dozen and don't strike fear into your heart in the same way. It's antagonistic, sure, but it's not going to seek you out and destroy you like 1.0 would. Cougar 2.0 is now as scary as a wolf or a bear. Hell, I'd go so far as to say Timberwolves are scarier. Cougar 1.0 was like a hurricane. You had to either prepare to the max or just get out of its way. It felt like a force of nature. It felt like a real, tangible threat to your life and deserved to be treated with respect. The only prep Cougar 2.0 needs is a steady hand and a tea or two. Sure, it can kill you with one too many glancing blows, but so can a wolf. Where's the showmanship? Where's the hype? Like, I'm going to remember the day I killed Cougar 1.0 for years. The only thing I'll remember from killing Cougar 2.0 was how disappointed I was. Now, I know I'm dunking on Cougar 2.0 a lot, but it had some good moments. The cutscene that plays when it first spawns triggered my Cougar 1.0 PTSD. More will spawn in the same region. Well, although, weren't we just talking about immersion? Are you going to tell me that a HUD notification was too immersion breaking, but a whole ass cutscene isn't? Maybe people are complaining about that too, but I haven't been on Twitter in months, so if they are, I'm missing it. Are people complaining about it? Let me know in the comments, will ya? Another part where Cougar 2.0 scared me was when I lost track of it after a glancing blow and didn't know where it would come from next. Okay, now we're starting to take some damage. Where'd he go? Nice of him to loudly announce his presence, though. Where did he go? Oh, I'm in danger. God, where the hell is he? Where'd he go? Now, oh, there he is! Now I'm a little scared. That was good. It certainly had its moments, but those good bits couldn't outshine what we'd lost. Cougar 1.0 was unique, threatening, and intense. The sound design for when it was in the region was phenomenal. The fact that all the other wildlife, even the bears, cleared out really added to the fear factor. It's like in shark movies when there are tons of little sharks in the water, then they all suddenly leave the area because the giant shark is nearby. That's how Cougar 1.0 felt. Also, when I killed Cougar 1.0, I felt like a badass action hero. When I killed Cougar 2.0, I felt like I was playing a video game. So there you have it. In my opinion, Cougar 2.0 is a massive downgrade from the original. I find it disappointing, to the point where I'm tempted to go back to a time capsule and just play with Cougar 1.0 again, bugs and all. If you like Cougar 2.0 and you're happy with all of these changes, good for you. I hope you enjoy it, and I'm honestly envious. I really wish I liked Cougar 2.0, but I don't. I feel like a disappointed parent whenever I think of how the community bullied the devs into removing the most unique threat in the game. Hopefully, in the future, Hinterland will add modding so I can pay a mod maker to bring Cougar 3.0 to life. It would basically be 1.0, but with the changes I suggested. Until then, if there's anybody listening who has never played with Cougar 1.0, I would highly recommend giving it a try. I'm sure there are some great tutorials here on YouTube for how to do the time capsule thing. That's certainly what I'm going to do. Thanks for listening. Until next time.